In today's video, I am going to share 9 principles that every website should have to make or break it. My name's Titus, and I always thought I knew what a website should look like and how it should function. But after finding out about these 9 principles and implementing them into my business, it has really opened up my eyes in what a website should really look like and how it should perform for the best output. So let's start with point 1. The main thing that you need to think about when designing your website from scratch is, what is the purpose of it? Is it to describe your expertise? Is it to build a reputation? Is it to generate leads for your business? Or is it a shopping platform where you can sell and aftercare for all the clients that you do have coming to your website? With this in mind, you have a clear intention for your page, so then you can design it according for the best user experience for whatever you need it to be. If it's to generate leads, you're going to be putting call to action buttons all the way through your website to make sure that people on your website know what the point of the website is. So is it to book a consultation? Is it to book a call? If it's to describe what you're doing, you're going to have lots more information on it. So it just really depends on what you want to achieve with your website and have that design purpose in mind. The second principle is simplicity. And there are 3 things you need to consider with this: the color, the type, and the imagery. With your brand kit, you should have just a selected amount of colors with it. You shouldn't have about 20 different colors on your website. Yes, they can have different shades, but imagine all the different colors on a hex circle. That's just going to make your website confusing, difficult to navigate. People will think it's a joke because it's just not serious and will want to click off it. So if you have your brand kit and a set amount of colors, you can keep it consistent throughout and make it simple. Then you have the type or the typography. Again, you don't want to overcomplicate this. You should only want a maximum of 3 different fonts on your website, and even that is too many. I try and stick with 1 when I create my websites. It keeps it consistent, it keeps it simple, and again, it's better for the user experience. Everything is the same and there is no confusion in what's around the website. Then you have the imagery. Imagine if you just saw videos on a website. It would make it confusing. You wouldn't read the information because you'd be too busy looking at the video and what it's offering. And then another thing, it would make the website so much longer to load, which in turn makes it perform worse and makes people click off the website, which is the opposite of what you want to do. So yes, you can have 1 video, but I wouldn't recommend to have about 5 videos on your landing page when people first click on it. Instead, you can have images which complement the content. So you could have something describing a service that you have along with the image of the service. That works great because people can understand what they're actually reading and have some association with it. And with imagery, one key fact that I'd like to point out: never use stock images for your website. It just loses your brand reputation, gets rid of any trust that you've already developed through the website, and it just chucks it all out the bin. People don't want to purchase from you or use your service, and then that's it. They go to a competitor. Now the third principle, navigation. You want to make it easy for people to navigate through your website, whether that's through the homepage or having the nav bar always sticking when they're scrolling, always making it visible to access the About Us page, the services, the gallery, and then most importantly, the contact, because that is the main purpose of a website, to either get in contact, get some sort of lead, again, depending on what your purpose of the website is. And with that nav bar, always having a menu always available to basically click the 3 buttons to get to this page, or even internal links. On your homepage, you could have a bit about who we are and then have an About Us link which takes them to the About Us page. Again, easy navigation means a better user experience and better overall performance for your website. Now this 4th principle relates to navigation, but it's how you should lay out your content for the best user experience, and that is the F-shaped pattern reading. It might sound confusing now, but it's very simple. It's simply users reading from left to right, top to bottom. And that is just all through eye tracking studies to see how people behave when they see a page or how they read. And it's very simple. You start at the top left and finish at the bottom right. So making sure your content follows that pattern, again, improves the experience and boosts your website performance. And that is all we're going to keep on talking about today. You want to optimize your website for the best user experience and the best website performance. Now the 5th principle, which is visual hierarchy. This very much links with simplicity, where you don't want something to look confusing and out of shape. Imagine if your heading was a size 10 font and your copy for your content was a size 20. It wouldn't make sense. You want to make things in order, so you have a big heading to make it clear of what they're reading, and then a smaller description. These are little things, but if they're not done correctly, they're big mistakes and have a massive effect on your website. You want to make sure that these are very much optimized and perfected to make sure that the visitors know where the most important information is. Now number 6, the content, and that is very huge for a website. It can make or break it for sure. Yes, you might have a lot of information on your website which you want to portray to the visitors. But imagine if someone came up to your website and your company had 3 paragraphs about who you are. No one's going to read it. And that's where you need to optimize it for the best language, for the most attractive language, so people keep reading it, and also how it's presented. If the content is just one straight bar of line after line after line of content, again, no one's going to read that. People are going to think your website's outdated and not optimized, and it's going to be a waste of your time and a waste of their time. Great content can attract and influence visitors and convert them into customers. So like I said earlier with the imagery, you might have a bit of content with an image and that will work great because a picture speaks 1,000 words. That's such a cliche saying, but it's true. It's better to put a picture up of something instead of thousands and thousands of words, which no one's going to read. It's going to be a waste of everyone's time, and what's the point? Now, number 7 is for the designers of websites. And if you are a designer, you should already know this. And if you don't, you're doing something wrong. And that is a grid-based layout. The grid just simply helps you structure your design and keeps your content organized. And this is very key with alignment, because you might think from the naked eye that everything looks perfectly straight in the center, all looks in one line, but then you might publish it and something goes wrong. And without the grid, it will look messy, again, not professional. And who would want to be on that website? So the grid just helps you get that perfection that you need in the website creation to keep everything balanced and aesthetically pleasing for your website. Now, number 8 is a big one, and it's to do with SEO as well as your website. And that is the amount of time it takes for your website to load. If people are waiting for your website to load, you've lost them already. Nearly half of web users expect a website to be loaded in 2 seconds or less. If it's anything more than that, they click off because they think it's not working. One way to improve that is, again, with images and videos. You want to compress your images to reduce that file size, to reduce the amount of things that have to load, and that will straight away improve the performance. There are so many tools out there which help with performance and page loading speed. Even Google has insights into how to optimize your page. And like I said, this is a great point for SEO, because the faster a page loads, the better it ranks your website, and which is what everyone is aiming for. And now the last principle, and I think this is the most important out of all of them. I've mentioned this countless times in my previous videos, but I'm going to mention it again because of how much of a big deal it is. And that is to make sure that your website is mobile responsive. People are using their phones more than their laptops to go on websites. So now if you haven't optimized your page from the desktop version, everything's going to look clunky. It's not going to be proportioned to the screen size. And as we've mentioned throughout this whole video, everyone's going to click off and go to a competitor. And I've said this countless times in my previous videos, and I'm repeating myself again, but it's sometimes better to design your website on the mobile version and then convert it to desktop, because then it will be fully optimized on mobile and you won't have to worry about any changes affecting the desktop version. So you need to make sure for every screen size your website is optimized, because it makes a huge difference. And think about it from this way. If you're a construction company going for a phone call, expecting a phone call from all your visitors from your website, no one is going to call from their laptop. They're going to go on your website through their phone and hope to find a call to action to say call now. If that website is not optimized, how are they going to call you? They're going to get frustrated by a website that's not fully functioning and find the next best person on Google who has a similar ranking to you, offers the exact same service, but their website works. And that's what makes the difference. So make sure to use these 9 principles to get the best layout for your website and get it optimized and performing the best it can be for the highest conversions and the most amount of visitors for your website. If this video helped, please hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next week.